Daja Hello,
Hello.
everybody. Happy Bank Holiday Monday.
Yeah, for those of you in the UK, happy bank holiday. We haven't recorded a video for a little while, so we thought we would send you a little update. It's been a really busy month and a bit for us,
Yeah.
but so much for us to be really thankful for. We've now been at the Roots Church for about 5 weeks. We're really enjoying getting to know people there. We've actually joined a small group that meets not far from our home as well. People who've been incredibly friendly, taken lots of initiative, and it seems like a really great place. And really interesting for us to learn about how they're church planting in this culture, and how they're kind of contextualising things so that they work well here. So that for us has been a really positive, exciting move. I've also only got 5 weeks left at school, which I am very excited about. And I'm now about 29 or 30 weeks pregnant. So it seems to be going okay. Getting a little bit more tired and achy, especially as it's getting hot here, so that makes the bump feel a bit heavier. But it seemed to be pretty healthy on the whole, so we're really thankful for that. Also, I mentioned to Karen, who's the pastor's wife at our previous church, I just asked her if she had any baby clothes because they have a daughter who's coming up for 3. And bless her, she asked a whole load of her friends, and we've been inundated with baby clothes. In fact, so many I think we could open a baby shop, and we just feel really, really blessed by that.
And Mim's new hobby, I think this is probably her nesting. Her new hobby has been to fold up the clothes and arrange them all and sort them into age order, colours and this stuff. And they look very pretty now, folded up in their drawers.
It's good fun, especially as we're finding that our apartments in Taiwan are very small.
Yes, that's true.
And so we're trying to make really good use of space.
Luckily, they have IKEA here, which really helps.
Yeah, so I have enjoyed trying to kind of find minimal space ways of storing stuff, so that's been quite fun. Also, we're really thankful. So in the apartment that we're living in at the moment, we've been wondering about whether we should move closer into a town where church is, where school is, where Pete's job is. But at the same time, it's more expensive, and we didn't really have the time to look into it properly, and we didn't really want to move when I'm heavily pregnant or with a newborn baby, and our contract here runs out in August. So anyway, we spoke to our landlady, and she was amazing, and she said that we can sign for a year, but actually that we can leave at any point in the year. We just need to give them a couple of months' notice. She even said that if we can't pay our rent 1 month, not to worry, that they'll happily wait till the following month. So that's been a huge blessing, yes, and a real weight off our mind, because it means we can stay here, but we're not committing for a year if that's not what we want to do as well. And one other really cool thing that's happened actually is that Michael, who's the pastor at the Rock Church where we were for the last 18 months or so, mentioned that they were struggling a bit financially. The church can't pay them, so they were relying on donations. He's interested in teaching. They've got a daughter who's coming up for school age, and they weren't sure where to send her to school. Couldn't afford to send her to some of the more international, like the international schools. So anyway, I just kind of said, you could apply to Cray Chan. I didn't really think very much of it, but anyway, he did send his CV in, and they gave him an interview, and they offered him a job, which they are hugely grateful for, and they're really excited about. And they feel like it's a real answer to prayer in terms of their solving their financial problems and also giving a school place a charity. So Michael will be starting teaching computer science and maths in August, and even though he's not qualified, school are actually going to put him through a training programme so that he'll get a kind of teaching credential as well. So that was a real kind of unexpected answer to prayer, I guess, for them, and a blessing for all of us.
Yeah, it's great that we'll be able to help with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, talking of jobs, I've got one too. No, well, I have, but thank you for your prayers. I know that I think our last prayer thing, this thing, was to ask for that. So thank you so much for those of you who prayed for it. It has been a saga over the last 6 months or so to try and navigate us to this point. But I'm starting work on Saturday, teaching English to sort of primary school age people, children, and at the school that I've been studying Mandarin. So this week is like my last week of kind of Mandarin lessons for now, and then on Saturday I'll start teaching English, which is great. It's a new career for me, so I really appreciate your prayers that God would just help me to learn quickly, to do a good job. Also for provision as well. Don't know how many hours I'm going to be working per week. It kind of depends on what students come in the demand, but I am paid hourly, so more hours equals more money, and that is helpful. So it has been a bit of a saga getting there, and we'd originally hoped that I'd be able to work where Mim's been working at Kwei Shan, because they've got a Christian ethos, like a Christ-centered ethos, which is great, and they do a lot of kind of outreach and discipleship type stuff with the students there. And when they invited me to come in and help in September last year, we thought, okay, this looks good, and then that seemed to go quite well, and so we thought, oh, brilliant. And even in March, we kind of started the conversation about the possibility of me working there. They were really keen, but it just proved impossible with the visa. So basically, because I'm not a qualified teacher, so I don't have a PGCE, or I'm not an ordained minister, or I don't have a theological qualification of like a formal theological qualification, basically they couldn't find a way of getting me a visa. Like they tried loads of options with loads of different organisations, and it was really kind of them, but they didn't feel like with integrity that they could do it, which we totally understood, and we were really grateful for them. And then they suggested that I applied to a local church, international church, who were looking for a youth worker, and that seemed like a great option. When we saw the job description, it seemed an ideal place for me again to learn and just get to maybe get practice of sharing the gospel and discipling young people in a Taiwanese context, but. Again, that didn't work out because the church there were basically like, yeah, you seem like great guys, but you've got a real heart for church planting and you're not kind of a lifelong youth worker. And I was like, yeah, both of those things are true, and I completely see what you're saying, and that's fine. So that door shut. And then we looked at the aircraft mechanic option because I'm a trained aircraft mechanic, but it turns out that most of them here use Mandarin, and because they're employing Taiwanese people, their salaries are actually a lot lower than in the UK, and so teaching English seemed to be the best option and the best. They earn more money. You can earn more money teaching English, basically. So, and I'd done a CELTA course before I came out because we thought this might be a good option. So I started going for teaching English interviews and applying there. And the first one I went to, because I'd done this CELTA course, they'd asked me to prep a lesson. So I prepped a lesson from what I'd learned on my CELTA course. So I had phonology in there, sentence stress, meaning form, and the other one, pronunciation. Thankfully, meaning form, pronunciation. I'd done all this, and I got a lesson plan mapped out. And in the interview, the guy was like, "Oh, so have you had a thought about how you could teach this?" I was like, "Yeah, I've got a lesson plan." And he was like, "Great, talk me through it." So I talked him through it, and then afterwards, he was kind of like, "We're asking you to teach 3 to 6 year olds, Really, we use a lot of songs, a lot of actions, a lot of basically dance and drama and stuff." And he was like, "Do you think you'd be okay with that? Are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would be okay with with doing that. Basically, just entertaining." And I'm sure it's a really, really valid, valid, meaningful work, and it's really important for the young people here to access education internationally, to be able to have good English and to start young, and that's so I do get it, but I was just like, this is not what I'm expecting, and particularly in that interview context where I'd done that lesson plan, I was like, man, this is not what I expected. So I did have to pray that through with God and say, look, God, okay, this is not what I've expected. I have not prepared for this. I am willing to do what you want me to do, if this is what you want me to do, but you're really going to need to help me here. And so I kind of held that before God for about a week or so, and then I felt it was right. TLI, where I've been learning Mandarin, they had said, look, if you'd be welcome to teach English here, we're happy to explore that. So I felt it was right to just let's start exploring that and talking about that. And around this time we started moving to the Roots Church, and where this school is very close to the Roots Church, and so it seemed like actually, although the pay was a bit less and the hours maybe not as great, there would be more opportunity because the class sizes were smaller, one-on-ones, and there'd be more opportunity if I was get to know the families of the students I was teaching, or my colleagues, to be able to witness to them and then maybe bring them along to church. So that seemed to be, as I prayed about it, that seemed to be where God was leading, and so we made that decision to explore that. And then the week after that, someone prayed for me and had a word about basically sharing the gospel and teaching young children, and I was like, wow, this feels like real confirmation from God. And then the week after that, Kwei Shan actually found a way that I could come and teach a few hours of kind of Bible class and Alpha course type stuff with them next year. And so it seems like God has kind of manoeuvred it all so that actually Quayshan is very close to the church we're going to, which is very close to where I'll be working, and hopefully we'll be able to make a real impact for the kingdom. So we'd really appreciate your prayers for that, actually, that God would really use this to build this new church that we're at, the Roots Church, and that we'd be able to be great witnesses, and that people would come to know Him, and also that I'd do a great job, and also that Baby and Mim God would just be with us and give us wisdom and watch over our health and all that kind of stuff for that. So it's a bit of a long story, a bit of a longer video. Sorry about that. Is there anything else we should ask for prayer for?
No, I don't think so. I think the other thing with job as well, as Pete said, then the pay is quite low and the hours are uncertain. So we'd really appreciate kind of prayer for financial provision as well. As I stop working, I'll get paid for July, and then after that. And then the only other thing I think is still community and friends. And obviously I'm going to be off with Baby. So I would love to have people I can spend time with and really be able to enjoy that time off as well with Baby. And then just safe, healthy pregnancy, birth. That would be good. So
yeah.
Anyway, this is long enough. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys, for your prayers and support. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it. And hope to hear from some of you soon. Lots of love. Bye bye.
Bye bye.